What do I know about the equation of a parabola? How does an equation of a parabola look? How many of the variables are squared in the equation of a parabola? One of them, either x or y. How about in the equation of a circle? Two. So in the equation of a circle, both variables are squared. Not only are they squared, so you have an x squared, you have a y squared, there is a plus in the middle, and what do we know about the coefficients of x squared and y squared? They have to be the same, okay? So they have to have equal coefficients. Now, that's a circle. Parabola only has one variable squared. The ellipse is similar to a circle in the fact that the x is squared, the y is squared, both variables are squared. There is a plus in the middle, but the difference is the coefficients are not equal. So for example, if we go here, you need to know how the equation looks. We're not going to solve for these equations, but you should know how it looks. So take a look at this one, right? How many of the variables here are squared? Two variables are squared. The x and the y are squared. Is there a plus in between the x squared and the y squared? Yes, there is a plus. But what about the coefficients of x squared and y squared? Are they the same? They're not the same, so that's an ellipse. Okay? So all you need to know is that for an ellipse, the x and y are squared. There's a plus in between the x squared and the y squared. And their coefficients are not equal to each other. All right, so section 5 we're skipping altogether. Those are hyperbolas. And we're moving on to section 6. Section 6 is literally just putting all of these together. If you have some random equation, how do you know, is it a circle, is it an ellipse, is it a parabola? Okay? So it's identifying conic sections. And I'm just going to go through it in the most basic form. So the first thing we're going to do is write the equations in standard form. Okay? All right, so here we have 6x squared plus 6y squared equals 162. What do you think? What kind of conic section do you think this is? Okay, so I have circle and I have parabola. Defend yourselves. Why would it be a circle and not a parabola? Right. Okay, so you have an x squared, you have a y squared. Now, to put it in standard form, x squared and y squared have to be alone for the circle. We get rid of the coefficients. So it's divide by 6, divide by 6, divide by 6. So it's x squared plus y squared equal to 27. That's the equation of the circle in standard form. You have to get rid of the 6's in front. You have to divide it out because the only way to figure out the radius, right, it's the square root of this number. It's the square root of this number only when the coefficients of x squared and y squared are both 1. Okay? So what is the radius then? It's the square root of 27, which is 3 root 3. And where is the center? 0, 0. All right, next. I'm going to erase this problem. I'm going to give you a new one in its place. So let's see. We have x squared plus y squared minus 6y minus 16 is equal to 0. All right? Right off the top of your head, what do you think? What shape this is? I have a circle. Anybody else? Circle, going once, going twice. This could be a circle. Why is it a circle? X is squared, y is squared. What's the sign between x squared and y squared? Plus, and they have the same coefficient. So now let's put it in standard form though. All right, so we're gonna isolate all the x's. There's just one term for x, so it's x squared. Plus, let's get all the y terms. Y squared minus 6y plus a number equals, I'm going to take the 16 to the other side plus a number. Okay? So remember, only for the parabola do we keep everything on the same side. Everything else, we work on both sides. So what number goes in this blank? 9. So my equation is x squared plus, how do I factor that blue part? I have a y minus 3 squared, yes, equals 25. Okay, so that's a circle. What's the center? 0 and 3, and what's the radius? 5. All right. All right, for the next one, I'm going to ignore these instructions and I'm going to give you a new equation, which will read 3x squared plus 2y squared plus 16x minus, what is it? 12y minus 6 equals 0. Okay? All right, so let's complete the square here. Okay? So we're going to combine the x terms, and it's going to be 3x squared plus 16x squared. But remember, I need to factor out a 3, right? Because x squared has to be alone. So it's 3 times x squared plus 16 over 3x plus a number. Now, where are my y terms? 2y squared minus 12y. What can I factor out of those? Right, so plus 2 y squared minus 6y plus a number equals, I take the 6 to the other side, and I'm going to do plus 3 times a number plus 2 times a number. All right, what number goes in the first blank? So I'm going to take the 16 over 3, divide it by 2, that's like 1/2, and then square it. So I get 16 over 6 squared. What is that going to be? What's 16 over 6? Somebody knows. 16. Well, it's over 3 and then divided by 2, so times 1/2, right? So this is 16 over 6, which is 8 over 3, squared gives you what? It'll be 81 over 9. 16 over 6 is 8 over 3 squared, which is 81 over 9. Huh? Oh, I'm sorry, 64 over 9. Sorry. Okay. All right. And what goes in the, okay, so here we have 64 over 9. What goes in the blue blank? 9. All right, so let's see what we have. 3 times. Here, it's x plus the square root of this, which is 8 over 3 squared, plus 2 times y minus 3 squared equal to 6 plus all that, it's 136 over 3. I used my calculator on that one. Okay. So again, we have the x squared, the y squared, the coefficients are different. This is definitely an ellipse. Okay? Yeah. All right, we're going to do 2 more. I'm going to give you a new one instead of this. So 4y squared minus 24y plus x plus 31 equal to 0. What do you think? What shape is this going to be?
Oh, wait, no.
Parabola, because only one of the variables are squared. Only y is squared. All right. So how does the equation for the parabola look? Well, this is the one with the y squared. So the way it looks is x equals a y minus k squared plus h, right? That's how the form looks. So I need to put this into that form, all right? So in order to do that, let me then write this equation in the black as x equals everything else. Can we do that? So let's do that. So here I will get x equals, and everything else will move to the other side. So negative 4y squared plus 24y minus 31. Okay? Now, let's complete the square. X equals negative 4. I factor that out. So y squared minus 6y plus a number. You factor out the coefficient of the y squared. If it's negative, you also take out the negative. You see what I mean? Yeah. Minus 31. Now, if I did plus a number here, and I'm working on the same side, it's got to be minus negative 4 times a number. Okay? I factored out a negative 4 here, so whatever I put back in has to have the negative 4 with it. Okay? And since I'm doing plus here, I got to do a minus here for the parabola since I'm working on the same side. So what goes in that blank? 9, 9. So this is going to be x equals negative 4, y minus 3 squared, and all that mess will turn into a 5. And this is a parabola. This is negative, negative, positive 36 minus 31 is 5. So what's the vertex of this parabola? Or maybe 5 and 3, right? The 3 is lumped in with the y, so it's the y coordinate. So 5 comma 3 is the vertex, right? All right, let's do one last one. And I'll work up here. Okay, here's one last one. 28x squared plus 9y squared minus 188 equals 56x minus 36y. Okay, so what do you think? What shape is this going to be?
It's going to be an ellipse. The coefficients are not equal and they're both square.
So ellipse, not an eclipse.
Why is it 5?
Well, I just answered that question. Why is it 5 for the vertex? You mean, how did we get 5 from here?
No.
Why is it 5 for the vertex? Well, it's this and this that give you h and k. The one with the y is k, this is h. So
Oh,
5, negative 3. Okay, so here we're gonna move everything to one side and the constant to the other side. So this will be 28x squared plus 9y squared minus 56x plus 36y, and the negative 188 goes over to the other side and it becomes positive 188. So all the variables on one side, only the constant on the other side. Ellipse and circle. Okay, ellipse and circle. For the parabola, what we keep on one side is the variable that's not being squared. Okay, now here we're gonna put the x's together. 28x squared and 56x. What are we supposed to factor out of this? What number? It's got to be the coefficient of the one that's being squared. So 28. Okay, so we factor out a 28. Even if it doesn't go evenly, you still have to do it. So x squared minus 2x plus a number, huh? You just have to make this coefficient a 1. That's your main purpose in order to be able to complete the square. Okay? Plus a number, and then, so let's do the y's now. I have 9y and 36y, so I'm going to factor out a what? A 9, and I'm going to get y squared plus 4y plus a number equals 188 plus how much? 28 times a number plus 9 times a number. Remember, whatever you factor out, that blank has to include the factored out term. Otherwise, you're changing the problem. All right, what goes in the first blank? A 1. What goes in the second blank? A 4.
Oh,
yeah.
you take the
So this is 28. How do you factor the red parenthesis? X minus 1 squared plus 9 y plus 2 squared equals to 188 plus 28 plus 36. How much is that? 188 plus 20 is 208, 216, 222, 252. Okay? All right, so the x is squared, the y is squared, there is a plus in the middle, their coefficients are not equal to each other. This is a what? This is an ellipse. It's a circle. Now, I'm lying to you a little bit, okay? This is 99% the standard form of the equation of an ellipse. But because we haven't solved for the ellipse, I'm okay with leaving it like that. So if you run across anybody, let me just, I'm modifying the homework problems here. They are gonna be the following. Page 634 stays. That's gonna be number 15, 17, 19, 25, 27. Very manageable, very doable.